A lot of people come here and get trapped. They don't plan to. Kensington, yes, I believe haunted because a lot of lost souls that left it that weren't ready to.
People that I know well close to me in the last 3 years. People never did drugs in their life, picked it up once, dead.
From fentanyl.
From fentanyl.
Inside Kensington, the place where America's opioid nightmare lives in daylight, a neighborhood that feels like the city of the walking dead. Beneath the rumbling tracks of the L, Philadelphia's forgotten heart beats to the rhythm of sirens, footsteps, and quiet despair. What was once a proud working-class hub has become an open-air drug market ruled by fentanyl and loss. This is where the American promise meets its breaking point, a city fighting to survive its own collapse.
Since I came here, homelessness is 10 times worse than what it was. And the people out here now, they're more crazier than what they were. At least some of them back then, they were in their right mind. Now there's a lot of them that are not in their right mind at all. And you can see that on the streets.
Kensington didn't fall in a day. It was starved piece by piece until survival became the only thing left to do. Once, this was Philadelphia's backbone. Factory jobs, busy corner shops, families who believed that hard work guaranteed stability. But when the factories closed and the jobs disappeared, so did the lifeline.
I know, 14 people died from SARS. We lost 14 people last fucking week, right?
The city moved on, the developers moved in, and the people who built this place, they were left behind. Rent kept rising, paychecks didn't. Families doubled up, then broke apart. A missed payment became an eviction, and an eviction became a tent. You take away opportunity, add decades of poverty, and multiply it by indifference. You get Kensington.
I start limping and walking fucked up. It's hard to walk. They're putting horse tranquilizer, elephant carfentanil, all kinds of psych meds. It's making people angry, agitated, fighting, robbing each other.
Then came the pills. The miracle cure for pain that turned out to be a slow-motion poison. Big Pharma called it medicine. The government called it progress. But when the prescriptions ran out and dependency stayed, the dealers stepped in. First came heroin, then fentanyl. Stronger, cheaper, faster, deadlier. By the time anyone realized, the city's working-class neighborhood had become America's open-air morgue.
This fentanyl, we're making it ourselves. You go online on the dark web, you order an ounce of fentanyl from China. It costs you $350. Pay an extra $50, the next day it's delivered right to your door.
Walk through Kensington now, and you'll see the cost written on every face. Veterans who can't sleep, mothers who lost custody and hope, teenagers who never had a chance to grow up. They're not criminals, they're casualties of a system that cashed out. The police clear a block, the dealers move 2 streets over, and the cameras call it progress. It's a performance. Order for the press, chaos for the people.
Tell me about living in Kensington.
I mean, all I want to do is drugs and die. So it's pretty perfect.
You think you have a death wish?
And yet, the cycle keeps spinning. Politicians promise cleanup operations, as if they're sweeping away dirt, not human lives. Outreach workers do their best with nothing, reviving the same people 3, 4, 5 times a week. Narcan saves lives, but it can't save dignity. This isn't just about drugs. It's about what happens when a nation decides certain lives aren't worth the paperwork.
What you're looking at is the mecca of drug addiction.
Kensington isn't a glitch in the system. It is the system, laid bare. Poverty, policy failure, and profit, all sharing the same sidewalk. You can call it a neighborhood if you want. I call it a warning, because what's happening here isn't staying here. It's spreading, one city at a time, one overdose at a time, one ignored human being at a time. Walk down Kensington Avenue at dawn and it feels frozen in decay. The L trembles overhead, smoke hangs in the air, and bodies drift between life and exhaustion. This isn't a street anymore. It's a graveyard that keeps breathing.
Death. Lots of fucking death. People are gonna die, and it's not gonna be pretty.
Every life here tells the same story. Pain, addiction, and disappearance. People who once had jobs, families, and a place to be now drift between consciousness and collapse. You see them under bridges, in alleyways, slumped beside the walls they used to walk past on their way to work. It doesn't take long to fall. A work injury, a prescription, a few missed paychecks, and suddenly the world forgets you exist. The system calls it failure. Out here, it's just reality.
And it's just been horrific. Like, it's just been just wall-to-wall ambulances and fire trucks and people lying on the street, and it can look like a war zone.
Each overdose is more than a number. It's someone who tried to numb a pain no one cared to treat. They're found in cars, alleys, tents, sometimes revived, sometimes not. And when the medics leave, the cycle starts again. Treatment centers promise help, but good luck getting in. No insurance, no address, no chance. The waiting list is weeks long. The next hit is 5 minutes away. The city keeps sweeping tents like trash, pretending the problem moves when people do. But you can't sanitize despair. You can't police pain. You can't fix addiction with optics. This isn't a moral collapse. It's a systemic one, built by greed, sustained by neglect. And the people still standing aren't the lucky ones. They're just the ones not dead yet.
This right here was my last $10 and my only $10 that I sold a crowbar and an angle grinder for. I got a coffee and some dope. Yeah, usually you don't eat and you live, breathe, and work for this.
How can you know really what?
Kensington didn't collapse by accident, but by decades of decisions that stacked against the poor and vulnerable until breaking became inevitable. Start with housing. Rent skyrocketed while wages froze. Public housing wait lists stretched for years, shelters filled. And when eviction hit, there was nowhere to go but the streets. The government called it temporary displacement. The people living in tents called it life. Before we go deeper into how this crisis spiraled, hit that subscribe button. You need to hear what they won't say on the evening news.
An original choice to use substances to self-medicate from the pain turns into a lifetime of suffering, and I became dependent on using heroin and fentanyl because reality was painful.
Opioids like heroin and...
Then came healthcare, a luxury disguised as a system. For the wealthy, addiction means therapy, rehab, recovery. For the poor, it means handcuffs, fines, and court dates. Clinics close early, detox centers charge more than rent, and Medicaid approval takes weeks. Fentanyl takes minutes. You can't recover in a country that treats healing like a transaction. Even now, officials speak of revitalization, pouring millions into optics, while outreach workers beg for bandages and Narcan. Funding goes to fences, not futures. The city spends more to push people away than it ever would to pull them back.
It's peer-led, and we hand out harm reduction supplies for the community.
Peer-led means that the staff that work there.
In Kensington, even amidst collapse, not everyone has given up. Philadelphia's Office of Homeless Services has tried to push back. Over 14,000 individuals passed through emergency shelters last year, but the waiting lists grew faster than the funding. Programs like Prevention Point deliver clean syringes and test strips to reduce infections, saving lives one dose at a time. Mobile units revive overdose victims daily. The wins are small, fragile, but real. Nonprofits fill the gaps where policy fails. From church basements to pop-up clinics, locals build what, bureaucracy forgot. Trust. Project Home ties recovery to work, and volunteers serve meals under the same bridges where overdoses unfold. Quiet acts that hold a broken city together.
500 rigs in it, and one day I went through 4 boxes of rigs in one shift. Rigs. Yeah, that was a busy day.
But the system is still cracking. Shelters overflow, treatment centers run dry, and residents are torn between fear and empathy. Experts say the answer is housing first, proven to cut chronic homelessness by 90%.
In an effort to keep drugs off the streets, the DEA just finished up Operation Last Mile. The year-long operation tracked the influx of fentanyl.
In 2024, the DEA's Operation Last Mile seized 27,000 pounds of drug precursors from Mexico, a 30% increase from the previous year. The chemicals, traced to Chinese suppliers, fuel cartel labs that replace every bust within days. Despite diplomatic pressure on Mexico and China, enforcement lags as fentanyl outpaces policy. Meanwhile, the $1.5 billion Support Act can't meet demand. Treatment centers close, wait lists grow, and clean sweeps just relocate the crisis without solving it.
You know, we've all got our problems, and I'm just trying to cope, man.
What's fentanyl done to your life?
Washington likes hard talk, tariffs, task forces, and press releases, but none reach the sidewalk. Addiction stays criminal in poor zip codes and a health crisis in rich ones. That double standard defines the policy gap. For all the billions spent, prevention trails the problem. Every plan reacts, none rebuild. Kensington is proof that America isn't losing the war on drugs. It's fighting the wrong one. Kensington is not beyond saving, but saving it means rethinking everything America believes about the crisis. What's happening here isn't a story about drugs, it's a story about neglect. And the way out starts where it should have started decades ago, with stability, not slogans.
Last night was very rough.
Yeah. No, there was rain and the blankets were wet. We had to move.
Housing must come first, not as charity, but as policy. The evidence is clear. When people are given permanent shelter before recovery, homelessness drops and overdose rates fall. You can't rebuild your life without a roof over your head.
And they were laying kind of head to head, and they were reaching for each other as they were overdosing, like they knew.
Treatment must be immediate. Addiction doesn't wait for paperwork or policy. Mobile detox units, 24-hour centers, and on-site mental health teams are essential. Education must move faster than the drug itself, using schools and social media to expose fentanyl's truth. But none of this matters without accountability. This crisis is bigger than Kensington. It's spreading through every city that treats poverty like crime and addiction like weakness. Until empathy outweighs apathy, until housing replaces handcuffs, nothing changes. Kensington stands as America's mirror. What we see here isn't just a neighborhood on the brink, it's a reflection of the nation itself. What we do next will decide whether we rebuild or just keep watching the same story play out, one overdose at a time.